Hello everyone. Today we are going to practice with pandas functions, and there are 30 questions. We will be answering them all. Let's get to it. First, we want to import pandas, download our CSV file, and store it in a data frame. And this is what our data frame looks like. It has 5 columns and 950 entries. Let's get back to it. We would like to print the first 5 rows over here, and we would like to rename the column names into these values. And over here we've changed the values into what we wanted it. And in here we're going to add our name and set the numbers in our data set, and then print it. And over here we can see that we've added our information. And now we're going to use the method to skip our information and printed the data set as it was before. And here we are. We can see that it's been deleted. 951 rows, 952 rows. And in question 6, we would like to show the type of our data frame. And we're printing it. We have object and floats. In question 7, we are going to select the value column using 2 different commands. There are 2 functions to do it. First one is log function, and the other one is ilog function. If we want to use the log function when we're choosing the columns, we have to enter the name of the column. And if we are using the ilog functions, which I've mentioned it in the question 9, we are going to enter the index of the column names. Anyways, let's run the number 7 and the CR output, and this is the value column and the rows. And in question 8, it asks us what the type of the selected column is, which is a float. And in question 9, we are using the ilog function, which we are going to use the index of the columns, which is 2 and 4, are equal to value and zip code. Now, can we apply both methods that was mentioned in question 7 for fetching the zip code column, which other column has the same status? Why we cannot use both methods for fetching its content? Now, we can use to fetch the value and the zip code column, simply we are using log function or ilog function. And in 10, we are going to create a new series called brand by combining machine type and zip code series. And this is how it looks like. We combine the machine type and the zip code, and we have a new series called brand. And in 11, we're going to create a new series, another one that is called total. And this time we're going to multiply the range and the value series, which gives us the total. And in 12, we are going to use the following commands. The A is fetching the head. This is what our first 5 rows looks like in our data frame. And in B, we're using describe, and we have the range value and the total. We have this. And in C, we are going to use the describe, and over here we have this output. And in D, we're printing the shape. It has 952 columns and 952 rows and 7 columns, and we're printing the D types, and we have object and float. Now question asks why some have parentheses and some don't in these methods. What is the difference between question B and C? Well, in pandas, actions require parentheses and attributes don't require it. The difference between question B and C is that B is an action. What is an action? An action is a state of what you do. For instance, dog that sleep with a parentheses, or dog that bark with a parameter of to stranger. And C is an attribute. An attribute is a state of who you are. For instance, dog that breed, or dog that color. In 13, how can we use the describe method to show the statistics for the object columns? And we don't want to include the numerical ones. And over here, once we run it, including the objects only, prints us the object columns. And in 14, we're going to rename the ID column to my ID in our data frame without replacing the ID series name in the original one. And we're going to display the top 5 rows. These are the top 5 rows. As you guys can see, my ID and the top 5 rows. And in 15, we're going to rename the ID to my ID with using in place. And this time we want to make the changes in the actual document. And we're going to use the in place equals true, and this time it's permanent. And in 16, we're going to show the DF column, our data frame columns. And over here, it's been replaced. And in 17, we're going to change all the column names to these values. And once we print it, we see them change. And now we're going to replace all the spaces that are in the column names with an underscore and fetch the column again. And as you can see, machine type and zip code, which both had space, now has underscores. And in 19, we want to delete the brand and total columns permanently. That means we're going to use the in place. What we do is we use the dot drop. We choose our columns, and we have to set the axis to 1. What it means that axis equals to 1 is that we are choosing the columns. If you wanted to delete or drop rows, we would be setting the axis to 0. And now let's run this. And the columns been dropped permanently. And in 20, we would like to delete the row number 3 and number 5 from our data frame permanently. And now this time, we are writing the axis. And we are setting our axis to 0. And we're dropping it. And this is what it looks like. And row number 3 and 5. There has been a mistake. These values should be 3 and 5, and then we drop it. Well, no, both of them are dropped, but it should be 3 and 5. And in 21, we want to sort the value series in an ascending order, and we want to show only the value column. And let's see it. In order to get an ascending order print, we should be setting ascending to true. And over here, it ascends. And in 22, we would like to sort the value series in an ascending order. And this time, we would like to show the whole data frame. This is what it looks like. Value series is in an ascending order. And in 23, we would like to sort the value series in ascending orders and show in the whole data frame. And we would like to set it in place. So that means we want to make the changes in our data frame as well. We're setting the in place to true and ascending to true as well. Let's run it. And let's fetch our column. and our first 5 rows, and we can see that the value is now in an ascending order. In question 24, we would like to sort our data frame based on the range and value in ascending and descending order respectively. Let's run it. In order to do this, we are writing down our column names that we want and setting the ascending for them true and false. Once we run it, we can see that the range and the value are in ascending and descending order. In question 25, we would like to display the rows of our data frame, which their range is between 250 and 350. And over here, our range starts at 250 and goes up until 299. We should be 350, I'm sorry. Let's run this again. There we go. 250 to 350. And in 26, we would like to display those rows, and we would like the range to be between 250 and 350, and we also want them in ascending format. So we are going to set the ascending to true, and we are going to set the range between 250 and 350. Let's run this. And now it's been in ascending order now. And in 27, we would like to display only the ID and value columns of those rows that are our data frames range is between 250 and 350. And here, which the ranges are 250 and 350. And in here, we would like to display only the ID, value, and machine type columns of the rows in our data frame, which their range is between 250, 350, and the machine type is equal to H. Once we run it, only the H is between 250 and 350. And in 25, we want to display the rows in our data frame that their machine type is equal to H, R, or X. And once we run it, our machine types H, R, and X only. And in the last question, we want to show our columns data type, and we want to select only the numerical columns, and we're going to include the number. And once we run it, this is what we get. Thank you everyone for listening.